Hey everybody. Story of the day from the 17th, which you can look on a calendar and this is true, is a Wednesday. I work on a Wednesday. I don't typically go out and do bird things during the week on work days, but this was a pretty special exception. This was after work, did some cardio, went swimming, came back, got ready, went out, met up with a friend. Friend of mine, first time going out with this friend, and this friend, I'll just tell this story very briefly for a moment here of we made a plan to go out because I've known this person for maybe 6 months or so now. Met her through the card shop where we play games together, play Magic the Gathering, and just one of the times out happened to mention that I enjoy, we've talked before. It's not like I'm hiding it. I don't specifically go, "Oh, hey, here's my video camera set up," and like I make videos and I do all this stuff. I usually just, for people, their first introduction, I just, I do wildlife photography. I take pictures of birds, and I have not been hiding that fact in any way of anything, but that's as far as it goes, and that's usually all people know. I show up with this friend, and she's also into photography. We found out that's why we plan to go out together, is that she's also really, really good. Just picked it up, not jealous at all of how good she is at just like nailing composition with no training whatsoever, and just like has a camera and like she's got the eye for it immediately and takes really good photos, even though she's basically where I started like 8 years ago with the basic camera. Like she's got a Nikon 3300, I want to say, and like a kit lens up to 200 millimeter. Basically the same thing that I started with, which not knocking at all. That's where I started. You got to start somewhere, and that's a cheaper way to do it rather than going, okay, well now I'm going to spend a couple $1,000s on a lens and a body and all the things that I've done. So I do, and since this point on our first time out, I have lent her my camera of like, here, you want to try this one? And I've got my old Canon and like a 100 to 400 or whatever. Like, here, try this out, see how you like this, and it's pretty good. Definitely lets you get a little closer, for sure. So anyway, we meet up at this point, and I'm like, all right, well, this is the first time this friend has seen me in this environment. And so I said something, I open up the trunk of the car so I can start getting my stuff out. And I've got like my multiple cases in my bag and my vest and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, you're really getting the full experience. And this friend just happens to go, no, I know. Like, what do you mean? Like I'm expecting the shock of, I've had these friends over before, and this one in particular as well, of like, you come into this room where I am with all my monitors everywhere for everything. It's like, oh, Michael's crazy. Got it. Okay, this is what to expect. This is what he does. This is like, and yeah, with the amount of cameras that I have and things like that, but she already knew. She goes, oh, I found you online. I know about YouTube and things like that. And I'm like, what? You've never breathed a word of it. Apparently found that out months before this point. Just never said anything. Little internet sleuth. Cool. Cool. I wasn't hiding it, but I didn't think you'd find it unless you specifically look up. Like you can look up my name, and you're not going to find me because my name is also the name of a very popular actor. I think got canceled, but anyway, like you'll find that long before you'll ever find me, unless you specifically know to put photography on the end. Anyway, had a really good time out taking pictures. We saw herons. I got a picture of a heron sleeping. I thought that was cool. Never done that. I think it's the same heron. I think by the time we walked from one side, the one photo I was just showing, walked around to the other side, it was done, and it was napping by this point. It had its eye closed. Pelican, like really cool, really close up photo. Not too much stuff today, but like the things that I hit, I was really happy with, and that was one of them was the pelican. I've never seen one with the brown on the head before. That's cool. Um, Cormorants up in the tree, like very silhouette from the way that the sun was. I did take a photo a little bit further from another angle after the sun had come back out from behind a cloud, and we got that. But I feel like in this instance, and I really think this was because of that friend who has not really done bird photography before, but done really cool landscape photography and was showing me all of her photos, which is like, I immediately went, wait, you're into this? Why are we not? And you also say you have done bird watching before, but maybe not to the same level of like, why are we not just out doing this right now? So like made a plan to come out and do this immediately as soon as we had free, which is why I was out on a Wednesday evening. And like we saw all kinds of cool stuff, like little ducklings, the mallard with their little ducklings, and she like took them away back in tow. There were 7 of them there. And I thought that was interesting because at another point we did see more mallards, but they were like there's a mother watching, like that was the still water up here, and then there was a point where we further on saw them in moving water, and then there were more young. These were not fully grown; they had all dipped under. Um, So they were having, like, that was the first time that I think I've ever paid attention and noticed the fact that mallards will have their babies at different points throughout the year, because clearly that mother there had a brood, a litter, a hatching. I don't remember what the term is, but a laying of eggs and raising young before this other one that we saw a little bit earlier in the day, where they were very young there at that point. So, like, that was cool. Didn't know that before. Got a really close photo of another mallard that came into land as we were walking past. I thought that was really the detail on it. Like, I would have framed this a little bit better. In hindsight, something for me to learn. Just, I think it's great as it is. It's fine. But if I'd thought about it, I would frame it slightly differently, where I would actually aim the camera a little bit further down so that the mallard body is like more up here on the top third, like kind of split it there, and then you get the reflection on the bottom part. You still get to see everything that's in here, but I just slightly would have reframed it. But, like, hey, I'm not going to complain. This is literally probably the closest and most detail I've ever seen on a mallard before. Like, how often can you see through the water to see their feet underneath? That doesn't happen very often. So a bunch of really cool things like that. Another highlight from the day definitely was the osprey. Osprey going up and over, and there was a swallow even with it. I think this photo is my favorite because you get so much of the cloud diffusion. Like, the bird itself is kind of, the only way to light it up is to really kind of boost it, after the fact, and tweak the levels a bit in order to see it, because I otherwise you don't get too much. But, like, just a few minutes apart between it flying over and then the clouds kind of came back and it did another sweep over, and we just get this fully clouded dark image. I thought that was really cool. And that's what I was saying with this friend who takes photos of landscapes and just things like that. It made me much more in a landscape focused mindset of, like, look at the like, took this right when we got there as we were walking. Beautiful cloud coverage. You can see the sunlight coming through it. You get those beams as it comes down. You can see the mountains, this water. Like, what else can you ask for? And I took a bunch of photos of the flowers that were out there. Not the best. I got to work on that. I want to improve it, but I'm trying to learn the nature, learn, like, trees, what these are specifically, taking some landscape shots kind of, alongside with a friend there who's also doing it like-minded, and it's not just all birds. So I thought this is just kind of another point. Oh, I taught her about long exposure. There's a waterfall here at this particular location. That was something that, on her camera is a little bit difficult to get into a manual mode. We eventually figured it out. It took a few minutes. I had to look up online how to change the settings, because it was like, this isn't intuitive. I don't know how to change these immediately just looking at the camera. But I took one with mine to just go, oh, hey, here's a waterfall. And we both took a picture of it. And I was like, have you done a long time like, set my camera up, prop it up on something, and do a long exposure? She had never done that before. So I introduced her to that, which is one of my favorite things to do. Anytime I see flowing water, especially a waterfall, my first thought is, oh, take a long exposure and get the just drawn out water, pouring over these lines as it goes. Like, one of my favorite things to do. Great time out. Really cool. Had a friend. Now that friend was not just cards and board games and things like that, but now is a bird photography friend as well. I converted her. Wahaha. All right. Bye, buddy.